Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over a bunch of teams that you can be using to farm Explore in Gems of War. So this week is the very first week we've ever had a week-long Vault event in Gems of War. Normally it's just a weekend thing that happens on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but this week for St. Patrick's Day they're kind of doing it all week long, so that's pretty cool for the first time ever. Aside from that, in version 6.2 we also got a bunch of additional loot from Explore that you can now get with the Mimics that give 2 times and 5 times multipliers. So you'll be able to farm a lot of loots between that and the fact that you'll be able to find treasure gnomes not only more commonly, but also the vault keys from those gnomes. So in the description will be a bunch of the teams that we're going to be showing in this video, and we're basically going to be going through all the difficulties of Explore, starting from the very low end and working our way to the higher end as far as a bunch of teams that you could be doing for farming different ranges. And there's different uses for farming every single one of the ranges, depending on what you're looking to get from a vault event. First things first, let's start with the absolute lowest range, bringing it down to all the way to Explore 1. And with this we will be showing pretty much the quickest team for just obtaining loot, which is either the double Ironhawk or triple Ironhawk. This team you would end up utilizing if your main goal is simply to get as many of the verses and as many as the gnome kills as you possibly can. Do keep in mind this will not work in this variant for the Palooza. You would have to go double Ironhawk with a second Empower here that has an auto extra turn to be able to do that. However, for this one you can simply just cast it, end up killing it out, and get an insanely quick amount of loot. And this is just infinitely repeatable. In a place like Center Mirage, there's nothing that will actually appear that will be able to actually survive this. The only one exception to this is, I believe, the on the Mythic battle, you can end up having the Mythic have enough, as well as some of the gnomes that replace the Legendary will occasionally have enough. If the Soul Gnome, for example, replaces the Legendary, I believe it has enough to end up surviving in that instance, but otherwise it'll just keep one-shotting, as well as if they have like 10% or 20% on a given week, that can also push it over. But things like Wild Plains, Center Mirage, there's a few of them that have a low enough durability where just one single click will end up killing out for an entire battle, which is pretty convenient. But anyways, that's what you would end up doing if your main goal is simply just to get the lowest possible range. Next, let's move up to Explore 2, 3, or 4, whatever one is the highest you could do with this next team. And this is probably the more classic ones, also the easiest to obtain probably on this entire list, as obviously double Ironhawk, triple Ironhawk, a little hard to get. However, something that's really easy to get is simply complete out Forest of Thorns in order to obtain Rowanne, get 250 wins on the Sentinel Hero class from Urskia to get Urskia Shield. Mirage Queen is obtained by throwing Chaos Shards at the Sunken Fleet faction, and Leprechaun is pure RNG from keys. However, it is only an ultra rare, so decently low rarity. Also, we have an event week for it next week. However, that won't really help you now, will it? But after this Vault event is over, there will be an event week next week where you can actually get it from event keys. I guess that kind of won't help now, will it? But he's a low enough rarity to hopefully have him laying around. But anyways, this is one of the more classic kind of teams. You can even run this to a higher level range. This exact team can be ran for Explore 12 if you really want to. And hey, there's one of the gnomes that we're talking about trying to actually farm here. So this team, basically the whole premise is make sure to set your metals to armor, which I don't currently have, but we have way more than enough damage. But normally you'd want to set your metals to pure armor to give Rowanne the max amount of damage as you could possibly be doing. And basically we can end up going through Explore here and just end up instantly killing. If you find you're not killing on Explore 3, lower down to Explore 2. If you find you are killing on Explore 3, you could try seeing if you can also kill on Explore 4 and get even more loot that way. Basically the highest level Explorer that you can consistently one-shot every single time is the Explorer level that you want to be using this team on, as you will get slightly more loot if you do end up doing it at a slightly higher range. So good idea to end up doing so if you have the damage capability to end up reaching there. So we'll just do one more battle here just to get it on a nice reset so we can go show the next team on this list here. Hey, we even got a verse 2. I'm actually, that's the lowest verse I'm on right now, so pretty convenient. But definitely can already see the nice shiny vault loot, or, you know, as far as the higher rate for the event. Oh, we do still have one more battle. Fine, we'll take this one out as well. But just make sure to lower the difficulty if you find you're not killing with this, or higher the difficulty if you find you are killing consistently, until you get to a high enough difficulty where you stop killing consistently and then go one down to make sure that you always are getting those one-shots in. Next, kind of similar team, except it is ran at 5, 6, and 7, and this one ends up utilizing 1 Mythic, so a bit more expensive, but a similar premise to the previous one, where we're basically running a pretty standard hero weapon with the Mirage Queen Leprechaun. The main difference here being instead of using what we were before, also make sure to set to magic here. This is actually one instance where you would set to pure magic, so I might as well just set that to pure magic real quick. So generally when you run this, you do go with pure magic just because because you need Phoenicia to have as much damage output as possible. The main premise of this team is built entirely around Phoenicia, whereas the other one was built entirely around Rowanne. She ends up doing double damage if there is a red storm, which you can simply have off your hero class. In this case, we're using Sun Spear, which has perpetual red storm every single turn. So even if they have a way to deny you, you'll still be able to get it right back. So basic same premise as before, except this sometimes doesn't get full mana. However, you just do that, boom, kill them out. And if you find that you're not one-shotting, you just simply lower the Explorer level. And if you find you are one-shotting, you higher the Explorer level until you find the highest Explorer level where you can consistently one-shot 100% of the time. And you just keep rinse repeating with that. So overall, pretty solid. One nice thing about this is you can go as high as Explorer 7. I believe there's some rare instances where you can go to 8. But generally speaking, depending on how many stats you have, 7's a nice spot to go for. You don't have to worry about 10% or anything like that getting in the way. Plus, some of the gnomes, I believe, gain slightly higher durabilities when they replace it, like things like Soul Gnome. A little tanky. So to avoid it, Explorer 7 I think is about the furthest you can normally go with it. Right here we're on Explorer 5, even though we could be doing a little bit higher. However, Explorer 5 is the main target you want to ideally try to hit, as one interesting thing about Explorer 5s is the first Explorer level that we get 2 trophies. I wasn't really showing the trophy number for the other battles, but you can see right here we are getting 2 trophies, and Explorer 5 is the lowest possible difficulty that you can set that will still give you 2 trophies. So ideally, one of the main premises of even using a Phoenicia team to begin with. Also, gosh, we just got like a whole Palooza just from this right now. Gosh, they're dropping like crazy. But the main premise of this is you're using it to be able to get those extra trophies while still getting a nice mid-range of loot. And it's probably one of the more optimal, if not the most optimal, mid-range kind of thing, if you want a nice balance of speed while also having a nice balance of loot. So it's a nice, good in-between option for whatever you might want to do. Next, we're going to raise it all the way to Explore 12 here. So with Explore 12, quite a few different ways that you can end up running this. I'm showing 2 particular teams for this, unlike some of the other ones, just because there are a lot of ways. We could even do just like a whole video just on Explore 12 teams, which we might cover again. But we're going to be going over 2. The one I always use, and a bit of a cheaper option if you don't have Zuul'goth. So this one, of course, pretty standard Zuul'goth teams. Are multiple different ways you can structure it. This is personally just how I like to run it. And this is, hey, there's the last one I needed for the full Palooza. There we go. And of course, Gnome-a-Paloozas, for 15 minutes, you end up getting gnomes constantly in every single one of the battles, and you can get a lot of loot from doing that. Anyways, with this premise, we're using a triple damage burning hero classes, or hero class. These end up working out really well because we basically just get to one-shot everything in our path, which is kind of convenient. As you ideally want to do this in a location that doesn't really have that many burn immunities, like Sword's Edge or Golvania are 2 particularly good locations that don't have too many burns. I actually have no clue how many this place has, but hopefully it's not too big a deal. But yeah, it works out pretty nicely. You can use quite a high variety of different triple damage burnings depending on what you want. Like Dragon Guard's a little bit safer, Slayer's a little bit quicker, so on and so forth. One of the nice benefits of Slayer is it has Enrage not only when it gets a kill, but also on extra turn, which basically allows it to always perpetually have the Enrage up, which is nice because if any of your enemies do happen to have any kind of immune to, or any kind of like skull reduction or skull dodge or anything like that, Enrage will allow you to just hit through it, and this hero class can perpetually keep up Enrage the entire time. The only big downside of running it this way is your hero does take a lot of damage, and if you happen to have lower stats, you might find yourself dying pretty often. And if that is happening, there are lower teams that you can end up doing. Probably one of the more nicer ones being Tesla. Tesla's a lot more similar to how a Rowanne team ends up working, as well as the Phoenicia, except you can't really put a Empower. Your main gimmick here is we're aiming to get our mana up as quickly as we possibly can, while also ideally getting an Arskia shield down. This ends up starting a little bit slower, but once we get the full combo down, we basically just win. So right here, we're going to... Oh no, he drained us. Oh no, we were about to do the whole combo. How could you? That's a little bit unfortunate there, but I think we're about to get this rolling. So we do this. This gives us a bunch of everything. We're going to go for a red here because we do want to make sure they're both up. We already got enough armor there, but just in case, I don't want to risk it. Let's go for a little bit extra durability, and then we cast once, cast again, and we're good to go. So ideally what you want to get is a nice quicker Skia shield into double Tesla. And Holy Saint Asher is mostly there for a little bit armor buff if you want, as well as getting the enchant if you find everything else is going a little bit slower on the team. It's a nice cheap option that doesn't require any mythics. It's one of the few Explore 12 teams that's decently quick that it doesn't end up needing to utilize any of the mythics. It is a little bit unfortunate that is so dependent on starting board though, but normally isn't too big a deal. More often than not though, this is a little bit of an annoying kingdom having mana drain there. It's definitely slowing it down a little bit more than we would necessarily like. Ideally, you do want to make sure your other Tesla is pretty much good to go. You can normally end up doing this off enchant, however, we weren't able to get it enchant this time around, so we're simply going to have to work around it, go for double Tesla. You can also simply just cast Tesla 3 times if you want. Oh, we actually did not have enough to do it there. Interesting. We are going to need a third one there, but obviously a little bit slower than what we would normally be able to do with a Zuul'goth kind of team, but luckily it does not require any kind of hefty legends to be able to do. And similar to many things, Tesla can be ran for pretty much every piece of content in the game. You just don't normally see me using it too often, as it is a little bit slower than other options that are normally available at later points in the game. So it's something that's good if you don't have other options, even like something like Rowanne here. Like, for example, we showed this for the lower range, however, it is doable on a higher range as well due to Urskia's shield, so we'll show this one real quick as well. So if you need something like super ultra cheap, you don't even need anything of really high rarity to still get the job done, as this is a much lower rarity team even than the Tesla team. So very similar premise where we want to go and get our buff down. This might even end up working out a little bit quicker, oddly enough. Good old Tesla. I mean, a good old Rowanne. Good for everything as well. But we'll go throw this down. I think we do need a second Urskia's shield here, if I remember correctly. I don't run this too often for Explore. But we throw a second shield here. That keeps it safe. We throw that down. It's kind of the same premise as the Rowanne, except luckily we get to run and empower this time around. So if they happen to have that annoying mana drain, we can kind of work past that a little bit quicker, which is kind of nice. And you know what, we can go get our 5 times chest. I haven't seen one yet, might as well just try running it. Let's go with the standard Explorer team, I guess, and try killing out that way, and go for one last chest just to end out this video. But yeah, I highly advise, yeah, of course this is like a general teams video for Explorer, of course, applicable to any kind of event, but given that we have a week-long one this particular week that this video is going up, highly advise to farm that if you have some time throughout the week, as this is the best time to be getting any loot. And even if it's just a standard weekend Vault event, there's still a lot of time, or a lot of loot resources that you can end up getting within that time. So right here, we'll go for our final little blow there. And let's see, will we end up getting the 2 times or the 5 times chest? That would be kind of funny if we did. Hey! Oh, wouldn't that be funny? We've been streaming so long to try to get this 5 times chest. Okay, so I might as well explain this mechanic now while we're here. So in version 6.2 last week, I haven't really done a proper video on it, though it will be when I cover the weekly video. I'll be kind of mentioning it too. But I might as well mention it here because I haven't really covered it in a proper video, even though we've been streaming it like crazy on this channel. However, one thing that was added in 6.2, the most noteworthy thing that was added in 6.2, is there's now mimics now in Explore. So the way that this works is there's about I want to say a 10% chance whenever you click the boss chest like we just did, that a mimic will end up appearing, and this will 2 times your loot that you would end up getting from Explore, so that's pretty cool. However, there's also about a 10-ish% chance after you take that 2 times loot that will become a 5 times. I have seen this 0 times, so who knows? Maybe this video will prove me wrong, hopefully. But it could end up turning into a 5 times when you end up taking the 2 times one. And that has a 5 times multiplier to all the medals that you'll end up getting, or all the tokens, I mean. And not only that, but you also have a chance of getting a new mythic that is only obtainable through this method, which as the time of this recording, only 0... Actually, it is such a low percent on the Steam achievements that's still showing up as 0% that many people have gotten it. Or that few, I should say. Okay, so right here, there's a chance that a 5 times will happen. I have not seen this a single time, and I highly doubt it's going to happen now, though that'd be absolutely hilarious if it did. No. We're not going to get that lucky. We got somewhat lucky to explain it. Not that lucky, though. So right there, it could have brought you to a 5 times battle, and then you would have gotten 5 times the loot while also going up against the Horde Mimics. For the Horde Mimics, you probably don't want to run like a Zuul'goth. You want to run probably like an AoE or, you know, something a little bit safer, because they do have like a billion skull reduction. I believe it's 82.5%, I believe it was. So you want to run something that isn't skull spam, but aside from that, they should be pretty easy, like similar Mimics. But anyways, right here, we should see 2 times the loot. So whatever in here, you'll see they get 2 times instead of this is standard 1 times. Unfortunately, a pretty standard chest there, but still kind of cool that we got to see it during the video, if nothing else. Still looking for that elusive 5 times, and still looking for that elusive mythic that you can end up getting from it, which is this little thing right over here, the Horde Mimic. Nothing too special, just a really tanky tank. It has the same problem as Stonehammer in that it's so tanky, but its ability is pretty underwhelming, to the point, as well as really random, to the point where you're probably not really going to be using this. You'd almost get better value just from using Gorgotha or something similar. So not too big a deal to really high prioritize it, though it is one more troop for Dragon's Claw, if nothing else. But anyways, guys, that'll wrap it up for this video. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you want to copy paste any of these teams, all of these teams will be in the description. So if you want to go copy paste any of them from there, feel free to do so. Any other questions, leave them below. Feel free to leave a like on the videos. It helps out a lot. And I will catch you guys later. Goodbye, everyone, and thanks for watching.